What's going on, you bunch of heathens? We are back with another video. This time from a new channel, History Hit. Seemed interesting. I forget what I was watching when I saw this pop onto my recommended, but I mean, look at the thumbnail behind me. Worst battleships in history, with the Yamato on there. And I personally feel like the Yamato, it might be it's the biggest battleship in history, but I mean, it's a fucking coral reef now. It's not the best. I mean, the fact that they sacrificed so much anti-air, which is what its downfall was, I had to check it out. And it just seemed interesting. Make sure you guys check out the original. It's linked down below. And without further ado, let's jump straight in.
Today, in collaboration with my favorite video game, World of Warships, which I don't mind admitting, once the kids are in bed, sneak downstairs and play for a couple of hours, we are going to...
I've never actually played World of Warships. I've seen Badger play it. That was about it. I used to be a big World of Tanks fan. And then I dropped World of Tanks and got into War Thunder. Because War Thunder has it all just in one package. I have planes when I want to play air. I have tanks whenever I want to play tanks. And I got fucking battleship. And I got ships. Even though naval is kind of, you know, the forgotten portion of it. But yeah, overall, I don't really know much about World of Warships. The main reason why I'm not the biggest fan of the World of whatever game it is I'm not a fan of the health bars. You know, that's one thing I like about War Thunder.
The greatest battleships ever built. Yes, we are going there. We're talking battle wagons, the castles of steel.
Greatest? I thought this was worst.
World War II battleships. Now everyone's got a favorite. We're all going to disagree on this. Let's keep it calm. Let's keep it friendly. This is just a harmless bit of fun. An expression that no one ever said about USS Missouri.
I don't know. So is this overrated? It must be.
Right, let's do this. I've chosen 8 of the greatest battle wagons ever to plow the world's oceans. They're kind of random. They're just 8 ships that I've got a particular connection with. And I've made up 3 categories, and I'll be rating them best to worst. First of all, the most obvious category, specifications. Their strength. So speed, armament, weight of broadside, all that kind of stuff. Secondly, their contribution to world history. Just what role do they play in the war? How important were they?
Oh, okay. This is a cool concept.
Fear factor. How awesome are these ships? And I'm going to lay them out on this beautiful, high-tech tier list. You recognize this. D for the worst, A for the best.
Oh, okay.
Special tier S if we feel that any of these ships are so iconic, they need their own category. First of all, though, let's do a little bit of housekeeping. Let's talk terms here. Obviously, ships have been involved in war for as long as there have been ships or war. But for most people, when they hear the word battleship, they think of the castles of steel that fought in the great wars of the 20th century, the First and especially the Second World War. Now, of course, there were armor-plated ships going way back. There were some in the American Civil War.
Yeah, battleships, instantly I think of the Texas, honestly. But mainly World War II. And then literally as he was talking, my mind instantly went World War II. And then I thought of the Civil War boats because they are super cool and they're not talked about enough. Like, they really aren't. But they are such a cool thing.
From the late 19th century. Once you've watched this video, I suggest you go and check out all those amazing vessels. But for today,
I'll have
we're going to be focusing on the pinnacle of evolution of the big gun battleship. We're going to be looking at the giants that slugged it out during the Second World War. All of these mighty battle wagons were designed by a particular power to do a particular job, sometimes in a particular ocean or just stretch of water. So, of course, there are lots of compromises involved. I like to think sometimes of something like a triangle. You've got
Yeah.
firepower, punch, how hard can a ship hit? You've got speed, how fast can it get in and out of action? And then you've got protection, its defenses, the armor plating on the decks, the thickness of the armor belt around the hull, even the special compartments around the waterline and below it to try and protect against torpedoes. And you can't be perfect at all three of those things. So
No, you really can't. It's a tug. It's a tug of war.
Are they going to be maximized for speed or for sheer punch? You might hear me get a little bit carried away and talk about.
I like him so far. He's charismatic. I like him. He has a very charismatic way of speaking. I like him.
Of battleship. Well, a class is a group of ships built pretty much to the same spec, and they're named after the first in its class. Bismarck class, Iowa class.
I was going to say, literally, I was about to say the Iowa class.
Those ships were the first in a batch that were produced to a very similar design. Now, let's get into it. I cannot believe I get to do this as a job. First up, because we're going oldest to newest, it's the grand old lady herself, HMS Warspite.
I know nothing about this.
In 1915, at the height of Britannia's naval domination of the world, she's one of the Queen Lizzie class of super dreadnought battleships. She was revolutionary at the time, oil-fired rather than coal. She displaces nearly 37,000 tons, so actually she's the second lightest on the list. Her main armament was extraordinary for the time.
37,000 tons of displacement. Big motherfucker. And then it's just, she's actually the second lightest on the list. That's insane.
8 super firing 15-inch guns, each capable of shooting a armor-piercing shell nearly a ton in weight. Her top speed was around 23.5 knots, which is one of the slowest ships I'll be talking about today, but that's to be expected. She's a grand old lady. She served for 30 years through the greatest wars humanity ever fought.
Oh, so she was an old lady.
Simply unprecedented. Nothing can compete. She was at the Battle of Jutland in the summer of 1916, which is the greatest battleship clash in history. Her 13-inch
I don't know anything about the Battle of Jutland.
The Germans, but she never gave up.
Dude, some of these I gotta look into.
In the Second World War, she wrecked shop during the Norwegian campaign. She smashed a bunch of German destroyers at Narvik. Her float plane was the first aircraft ever to sink a submarine, a U-boat. In the Battle of Calabria off the coast of Italy, she managed to set a world record. She hit an Italian ship at 24 kilometers range. That hit persuaded the Italian admiral to head home as quickly as possible. Slightly later in the war, at the Battle of Matapan, she smashed some Italian cruisers and fundamentally changed the balance of power in the Mediterranean. She was part of the bombardment force that took the war to the Italian mainland in 1944 and helped knock Italy out of the war. She took a terrible beating in return, particularly from German aircraft, but she was pretty much unsinkable. On D-Day, June the 6th, 1944, Warspite was arguably the first Allied ship to open fire on the beaches of Normandy.
Old girl probably
shortly after D-Day, but that didn't stop her. So Warspite
old girl was just
30 years, not only of some of the most extraordinarily intense warfare in history, but also a time of rapid evolution.
Yeah, and she stayed in it. Hats off to this fucking ship. Holy shit.
If not in world history. As for fear factor, well, I think, like that Italian admiral, if you found out you're engaging Warspite, you want to think twice. As you might be able to guess, I'm a big fan of Warspite. I am British. I love the Navy and its history. There are bigger ships on this list. There are ships that pack a bigger punch. There are faster ships. But there are few ships that can compete with the service that was rendered.
Yeah, I'll have to say, this might be S tier. Just hearing about it, this might be an S tier. Just simply fact that it's 30 years and it's never, and it stayed in.
By HMS Warspite. Come at me, but I'm placing this in S tier.
I give you that. It lasted, just due to the fact that it lasted so long. I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
Next up, it's USS Arizona.
Okay. The Arizona, just on historical, this might be because I'm American, but everyone knows the Arizona. Because, what was it? Was it Pearl Harbor? The Michael Bay movie or whatever? The Arizona it's one of the most famous, it's the most famous picture of Pearl Harbor, I would say. And one of the most famous pictures of American World War II, if not World War II in general, is of it being on fire at the attack of Pearl Harbor.
Built in a hurry, she was commissioned in 1916. She was one of a slew
16,
of
not 60.
super dreadnought battleships built to prove that the USA was now a power on the world stage.
Damn right,
At the time
Teddy.
she was built, she was regarded pretty much as the most powerful ship afloat. She's the lightest of the big battle wagons I'm going to be talking about in this
really?
film. She weighed just 32,000 tons. But when it comes to big guns, she had more than any of the other ships. She had 12 14-inch guns.
Damn!
Firepower. She was slow. Maximum speed 21 knots. Arizona served for 25 years. She stayed stateside during the First World War, but she took Woodrow Wilson, the US president, over to Paris, what we call the Versailles Peace Treaty.
Yeah,
Then
at the
she
Treaty of Versailles.
went around the world showing the flag, flexing on behalf of the American government.
Damn right, that's
And
what we do.
probably
We
her
like to
most
flex.
Famous entry in maritime history is her tragic end. On the 7th
Yeah.
of December 1941, Arizona was alongside in Pearl Harbor, the base of the US Pacific Fleet in Hawaii. A surprise attack by Japanese carrier-borne aircraft on the 7th of December destroyed Arizona after a catastrophic internal explosion. She still lies on the seabed of Pearl Harbor, a
Yes, she
monument
does.
both to that day of infamy and the men who died aboard. It's an incredibly moving place to visit even today. I've been lucky enough to be present as survivors of the Arizona.
God, that is definitely. If I end up going to Hawaii, I am visiting there. I have to visit the museum.
Died many years later of natural causes, have asked for their remains to be placed alongside their wartime comrades. So how to place USS Arizona? On its own, it's definitely not the most striking warship on this list. It fired a much smaller broadside than some, and it was slower, less well armored. But it did play a significant part in maritime history.
It did.
I think this is B.
I'd go maybe A, but that might just be me. I would probably go A tier just off historical value alone. I mean, and probably bias. That's probably bias on my end. Because I'm American.
Next up, our first German ship
Ooh.
is the Scharnhorst.
Oh, I don't know this.
The Führer himself, Adolf Hitler, was present when Scharnhorst was launched. He was proud of this ship, but I'm not so sure he should have been. Its guns are of the smallest caliber of any on the list. It has
really?
9 11-inch guns. Hot guns compared to some. It
I
weighed
mean,
in
compared
at
to the
around
15,
39,000
yeah.
tons, which makes it one of the lightest that we'll be talking about today. But it did make up for that in speed.
I was going to say, is it
31
speedy?
knots, top speed.
Pretty
When the Germans
speedy.
built ships, they had to be able to run away at pace. Now, I've got to admit, Scharnhorst does look pretty cool, but looks can be deceiving. Those bows were not well designed for the heavy seas of the North Atlantic. Time after time,
really?
she'd be plowing through big waves and ship so much water over those bows that she would flood her forward turret, making them unable
fuck.
to fire those guns. Scharnhorst did most of its best work in the Norwegian campaign of 1939.
Not a good design then.
She did score a hit on a British aircraft carrier at extreme range. It does rival the world record of HMS Warspine, to be honest. So that was impressive. But later in the war, she was annihilated at the Battle of the North Cape. On Boxing Day 1943, the British battleship the Duke of York beat her black and blue.
I love the fact that auto captions called him the Duke of York because of his fucking accent. Instead of Duke, it's Juke.
And she was finished off
that's pretty funny.
by some escort vessels. How are we going to rank Scharnhorst? Well, I'm not a huge fan, but to be fair, that hit on the British carrier was exceptional. And that's
exceptional, but everything else, like, poorly designed, like, not designed very well for the environment it was in. It had one significant thing, and then it was later sunk. Like, I'm assuming the aircraft carrier didn't even sink, so C tier if we're being very generous, honestly. I'd go D tier.
That alone means that it scrapes in with a C.
Yeah, if you're being incredibly generous. I mean, speed, yes. Okay, let's see. What's the displacement? Okay, so 39, we'll round up. 39,000 tons of displacement. Not the biggest. Not the biggest armament. In fact, I think he said the smallest or some of the smallest. And then speed is its biggest thing. But the speed doesn't work if you're flooding your fucking ship. I would personally probably go D tier.
Next up, just to show how even-handed I am, I'm going to include a French ship.
Oh, God.
The Richelieu. This was a very, very slow build. In fact, it was commissioned into the French Navy a couple of days before the French surrendered to the Nazis in the Second World War.
Oh, fuck.
Bad timing.
That is bad timing.
45,000 tons, so very mid-table. Its guns, pretty big, 15 inches. It's only got 8 of them. It's pretty speedy. It could hit 32 knots, and that's really why it was built. It was designed to hunt down the cruisers that Nazi Germany was building. This was never a super heavyweight battleship.
No, but
you'll be glad
really
to know,
fast.
So I'm giving her marks for that.
Suddenly came word, the Nazis speeding to take over.
As soon as the French surrendered, she steamed down to West Africa to a French colony with a lot of gold on board. The French colonial authorities then faced a decision. Should they just hand Richelieu, France's newest, shiniest battleship, over to the British and the Free French? Should they keep hold of it there, or perhaps they should even send it to join the German Navy?
What would they do?
In the end, the British really helped them make that decision. And the Royal Navy paid the biggest compliment they could to the Richelieu in that they went to great efforts to sink it. Richelieu built to take on Hitler's cruisers ended up firing its first shots at the British Royal Navy in September 1940 at the Battle of Dakar, as the British tried to neutralize Richelieu and other vessels.
Seems a bit much, all things considered. I mean, they were trying to figure out whether or not they wanted to send it to Britain or not. Like, do we want to send it to them? Do we want to use it? Or the lower chance, send it back to work for the Germans? And apparently Britain didn't like that. It was just, fuck it. If I can't have it, neither can you.
Eventually the French saw sense, and Richelieu was handed over to the Allies. It went to New York for repairs. In all, it served for 27 years. It didn't go back into service in time to play a part in the Pacific War, and it was part of the ineffective French effort to bring Indochina, Vietnam, back under the French imperial wing. It's a nice looking ship. I like the layout. The unconventional twin super firing turrets up forward, each with 4 15-inch guns.
It looks long as shit.
Really move the needle on global naval warfare. It's getting a C.
I'd say C. That's more of a C. Like, it is fast. Big guns, big displacement. It's a big boy who can move pretty fast.
Next up is the one you've all been waiting for. No list of battle wagons is complete without the legendary Bismarck.
Okay. I know nothing about the Bismarck, actually.
Mythologized battleship in 20th century naval history. But before
yeah, that's kind of what I figured from what I've heard of it.
She displaced 50,000 tons, so top half of our list. She was at the time the biggest battleship ever launched by European power. Bismarck mounted 8 15-inch guns, so by no means near the top of the list. Each of those guns could fire, say, an armor-piercing shell weighing in at about 800 kilograms. Well, some of the big battleships we'll be talking about in a minute could fire shells well over a ton. It could hit top speeds of near 31 knots, so mid-table, nothing to write home about.
But she could still move pretty quick, all things considered. Big girl.
Now, why does
fairly
Bismarck have the
quickly, I
greatest
guess.
reputation of any ship ever built? Well, partly because the Royal Navy needed to big it up to explain the fact that Bismarck had scored a lucky and fatal hit on one of the Royal Navy's finest ships.
Of course, they had to fucking do cover-ups, but not just that, you also have wearaboos. You know, the people who are obsessed with World War II German technology type shit. Usually they're fucking the Tigers, the fucking pinnacle of tank evolution, you know, that kind of shit. I mean, obviously there's going to be wearaboos for the fucking Navy as well.
HMS Hood. That had led to a catastrophic internal explosion in Hood that took it to the bottom, tragically, with nearly all its crew. The Royal Navy needed Bismarck to be this unimaginable super battleship in order to explain away their failure to upgrade the armoured deck on HMS Hood.
Of course.
It also made it sound cooler when the Royal Navy did manage to destroy Bismarck, which of course they did in May 1941. And that brings us to the problem with Bismarck. Its service history was less than 10 days. It went out into the North Atlantic. It destroyed HMS Hood, fair enough. Gave the Prince of Wales a nasty scare by hitting it with a few shells, some of which didn't explode. But after that engagement, Prince of Wales was operational again within 2 hours. Eventually, Bismarck was hunted down and smashed by the Royal Navy. I'll grant the...
Dude, really? 10 days?
Bismarck this. It took a hell of a beating, but there's more to being a great battleship than staying afloat when it's on fire. So,
D
how do we
tier.
rank Bismarck? Am I biased? Yes, I am. But
Of course we are.
I can't
But
help thinking that this is a ship with a reputation that far outstretches
yeah, it's an undeserved reputation.
Ability to influence the war at sea. I'm afraid, folks, I'm giving it a D.
Yeah, well, I'd say you're good on that. I'd say that's a D tier. 10 days? Yeah, I'd say that's deserved.
Up next, it's the most monstrous battleship ever built. It's the Japanese
Oh my
Yamato.
god. Fucking overrated. I stand by this.
You
How
run
the
out
fuck
of superlative to describe the specifications of this behemoth. It is the heaviest ship on our list. It displaces 73,000 tons. Its
Yeah,
main
fucking
armament
big bitch.
is mind-boggling. 9 18-inch guns. Its broadside, so the total weight of shot fired from its main guns, was twice that of Bismarck. Partly as a result of that, it is super slow. It managed to hit 27 knots, which is slower than any other battleship launched at the same time.
Yeah, he's
And its
fucking
fuel
slow,
consumption
bitch.
Was horrific. In some ways, it represents the very pinnacle of big gun battleship design.
Which is fucking hilarious when you think about it, that the Japanese, the big part of why they attacked was because of resource. We stopped selling them fuel and shit like that. And we basically embargoed them. And yeah, so what do they do? Let's build a fucking big ass ship.
By the time it was launched, it was a bit of a dinosaur. I hate to say this, but these big battle wagons were being consigned to the history books. It was the wrong ship to do the wrong job at the wrong time for the Imperial Japanese Navy. It was unable to take part in the battle for Guadalcanal because of its enormous fuel consumption.
Yeah, no, couldn't make it there.
Guadalcanal Airport, the tiny patch of land for which Japan has sacrificed a fleet of warships and thousands of fighting men, still bristles with United States bombers.
It did stretch its legs and showed us what it could do on the 25th of October 1944 off Samar Island in the Philippine Sea. It absolutely smoked the incredibly brave little US destroyer, the Johnston. Johnston, which looked like a toy compared to Yamato, was
I mean,
grazed by
yeah,
those
the
big
fucking
18-inch
Yamato was
shells,
fucking
and then had its superstructure
huge.
smashed to pieces by Yamato's secondary armament. It took astonishing punishment. Yamato then successfully struck a US carrier and sank another destroyer. In the end, it had to retreat because of US air power. The next time Yamato was in the thick of battle, well, it was a suicide mission. She'd been instructed to head to Okinawa, where a battle was raging for the island. There she would scuttle herself and just act as a giant gun platform. She never made it. Yamato was set upon by swarms of carrier-borne US aircraft. It took an astonishing beating. There are at least 11 confirmed torpedo strikes on Yamato.
Yeah,
and
sure,
6
but
bombs. Under these hammer blows, she sank on the 7th.
yeah, but the big thing with this is we already did the other World of Warships video where they dove more into it, and it didn't have enough AA. It didn't have good enough AA for it. If they had better AA, they probably could have made it.
1945 was said that the fate of the Japanese Empire itself was tied up with that ship, and in fact, that turned out to be true. It is an astonishing piece of battleship design. The world will never see anything like it ever again. Yamato is a cultural icon in Japan, a source of enormous pride.
I mean, I can see why, but it's...
They could outbuild the Europeans. They could beat them at their own game and produce an astonishing super battleship.
But it was useless.
You just can't give an A grade or above to a ship that ends up getting pummeled to death, ends up getting defeated, and is sunk with nearly all hands. I'm afraid Yamato's getting a B.
I was gonna say, you can't rank it better than a B. It wasn't big enough. Ironically enough, it didn't make a big enough impact on anything. Biggest impact was that it's the biggest. Cool. You sank just the fucking same. It's cool, but it's not that cool.
Next up, it is the awesome pinnacle of the USA's battleship fleet.
The Iowa!
It's the Iowa.
My beloved!
Iowa was first of its class, commissioned in 1943, deep into the Second World War, and the Americans weren't messing. It displaces 58,000 tons, which is the second biggest on our list. It mounted 9 16-inch guns.
My
in
big
its main
bitch.
armament.
My big
Not quite as
Bertha.
heavy a punch as Yamato, but much bigger than everybody else. Its weight of fire.
Iowa
dwarfs
S
its
tier.
model.
Already calling
It's
it
well
S tier.
armored, and its top speed was 33 knots. So she's big, she's powerful, and she's the fastest ship on our list.
God
I
damn!
go to Missouri, and they proudly point out the tiny little dent where a Japanese kamikaze aircraft smashed into it and caused very little damage. Throughout the remainder of the Pacific War, Iowa's big guns
Hell yeah.
made life very, very unpleasant indeed. In fact, untenable for many Japanese defenders
God, what
from
was
the
it?
Marshall Islands to the Japanese homeland.
Which fucking was it? Or it's the temper bullshit? What was it? Oh, it was the USS Wisconsin. Where was this? Iowa class battleship, which was launched at the end of World War II. Decommissioned, but then it was brought back into the Korean War. It was hit with no deaths, 3 injured, but it came from a 155 gun, which got lucky. Wisconsin took it very much so personally, shot all 9 of her guns, obliterating, like, flattening the area where the shot came from. And the fucking sister ship, which was escorting her, just temper. Like, dude, S tier. This class of ship is S tier, motherfucker.
Iowa also survived a massive typhoon with very limited damage. A typhoon that was strong enough to sink and cripple several other ships.
A violent typhoon whips at Admiral Halsey's Third Fleet as winds ranging up to 138
God,
miles
the
an hour.
Iowa's
For the
just
second
that
time in less than
bitch.
6 months, our fleet has been caught in a typhoon, common in the China Seas.
Iowa came agonizingly close to really showing what it could do in ship-on-ship actions when it almost intercepted the Japanese fleet at Leyte Gulf, but they just gave it the slip. In 1945, Iowa was present at the Japanese surrender in Tokyo Bay. Flagship, of one of America's greatest admirals, Bull Halsey. It went through periods of commissioning and decommissioning. It served in the Korean War, for example, and it was only finally retired in 1990.
God, 90?
This
That
is one of
bitch
those
old.
pretty simple decisions. Iowa is awesome. It's A tier.
No, bullshit! Nah. I might be biased, but so are you. That shit's an S tier, motherfucker. That's an S tier. I disagree. S tier.
Now, how else are you going to finish off a list of the greatest 20th century battle wagons?
I don't know
Obviously,
what's left.
It's got to be the last mighty battleship produced by the US Navy. It's the Missouri. The same class as Iowa, so the same stats. 9 16-inch guns, extraordinary liquid-filled compartments to reduce the impact
Oh,
of
no. Okay, we're not Iowa class. This is just the actual USS Iowa.
torpedoes.
Still,
It
I
was
would still say
a masterpiece.
S-class.
It weighs in at around 58,000
I don't know.
tons, which also makes it second on our list of battleships. Like the Iowa, it's capable of hitting 33 knots. It's fast. It's powerful. It took part in those titanic clashes at the end of the Pacific War. It bombarded Iwo Jima, providing essential fire support for the US Marines who were fighting so hard ashore. It bombarded Okinawa. It hit the Japanese home islands. And its importance is reflected in the fact that the final Japanese surrender, the end of World War
Okay,
II,
here it is.
took place on its deck in Tokyo Bay.
Cameraman and report.
Okay, so yes, S tier. Honestly, you know one ship I'm kind of surprised isn't on here? I'm kind of surprised that Texas isn't on here. Texas is very famous.
As United Nations military leaders crowd aboard the Missouri and examine souvenir cards bearing the Japanese flag, special mementos of the occasion. Swarms of United States aircraft fly in formation overhead as the ceremony ends. The final United Nations victory has been won. The war is over. Peace is here.
God, fucking monumental.
It fought in the Korean War. It was decommissioned in 1955, but was brought back into service in the 80s. And those big guns roared again off the coast of Kuwait during Operation Desert Storm as the Allies drove Saddam Hussein's Iraqi army out of Kuwait.
Wait, really?
It is an iconic ship. That's why it was selected by Steven Seagal for Under Siege.
Oh, God. We don't talk about Steven Seagal. Don't. That's going to bring it down.
Beautiful ship. The Missouri, it's S tier.
That makes me want to bring it down because of Steven Seagal.
Thanks for watching, folks. I certainly enjoyed it. Hope you did too.
I enjoyed it.
Please
This
like
was
and
interesting.
subscribe. And obviously,
It felt like it was went by like a fucking...
Let us know in the comments.
Like a
What do you
snap.
think
Like
this
it
list
went
should
by.
look like? Which
Okay. Arizona, I would move up. Iowa. Iowa could probably stay the same. Because now that I'm thinking about it, I was probably thinking the Missouri. I'm thinking just in general the Iowa class. A tier. I'd probably use bias Arizona up. Warspite can stay there. Missouri definitely up there. Yamato. Everything's all good. The only difference is I'd probably move the Arizona up to A
did I
tier.
leave out? What was I wrong about? And if you want to join me in
And
playing
ships
the
left out,
epic
probably
World
the
of
Texas.
Warships,
Texas,
all you
I'd
gotta
probably
do is
put
click the link in the
either high
description.
A or
That gets you
S
a
tier.
code to unlock some fantastic bonus content in the game. And I'll see you out there on the high seas.
Sorry, I had to yawn. Yeah, see, I'm also really confused. You have World of Warships Blitz, World of Warships Legends. Like, it's super weird. But hot damn. This is a really good video. I liked it a lot. I'll have to check out more of his stuff. HMS Hood. Yeah, I'll have to check out more of his shit. Damn. Like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. And till next time, make sure you guys take care of yourselves. See ya.